deux, trois. Good.
All right, welcome everyone to our first English episode. Today it's episode 28, and our guest today is Maia Gordon. How's it going?
It's going really well. Thank you for asking. How are you guys?
Pretty good, thanks.
Yeah, pretty good. So how's been the training so far since the gym has opened here?
Oh my God, it's been amazing. It's been amazing since September. The gyms have been closed. So honestly,
Yeah.
I'm feeling great. It's the springtime, so I'm feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready to kill my 17-week prep for my first show this season.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
cool.
And have you been working out like at home, or you had something special, or at home?
Yeah, I've been working out at home out of my condo. The condo gym has been closed as well. So it's really
Oh,
at
yeah.
home workouts in my living room with minimal equipment. It's been a challenge, but definitely rewarding. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I want to know before we get into like how you got into fitness and all of that. Like, where are you from? I know you're in Quebec, but where exactly in Quebec?
I'm in Montreal, Quebec,
Okay,
right in the city. Yeah.
Where do you train?
I train at Indoor Fitness. That is my coach's gym, Aaron Gatchus.
Oh, yeah.
It's a private gym.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I just wanted to know personally because I wasn't sure, right? So tell us like how you get into fitness. Like where did you start it?
Where I started, well, I used to dance in high school.
Okay.
There was a dance program in my high school, and once I made it to college, I stopped dancing because I was focused on my career, which was nursing. So
Okay.
I would say somewhere in 2012, like
Okay.
about 9 years ago, I would say I went to the gym. I didn't know what I was doing, so I did the aerobics classes
Yeah.
to get started, and now that was fun for me. I felt familiar because I used to dance, so the
Yeah.
aerobics wasn't foreign. But I wanted to do more. I wanted to, grow some muscle.
Helps out.
Yeah, so I would say about like 8-9 years ago, I started my fitness journey. Yeah.
So how did like you went from the class to like training? Like you said you wanted to do a little bit of gym training, but how did you get into fitness? Like,
Honestly, I taught myself. I mean, I just went on YouTube and looked up, the exercises I can do to target certain muscle groups. And I went from there, but that was really nowhere. There's only so much that you can learn on your own before like you need a professional. So I really got into wanting to compete in 2018.
so that's not a long time ago.
Yeah.
So like 3 years ago, I started doing some research and learning more about competing in the bikini division, and that's where it started. Yeah.
So
And did you
then,
have a coach when you started thinking about competing?
Yes. After doing my research, I realized that, if you're going to compete, and you're not really sure what to do, it's probably best to get a coach.
yeah.
So I reached out to my coach, Aaron Gatchus. He's had some athletes in the past, and I was going to be his first bikini athlete for the year of that year, 2018. And so I felt like it was a good fit between me and my coach. So we decided to do one show. That was the Summum Classic.
Oh yeah. Okay.
In September of 2018. And that was a really good first experience. I'm really glad I did it.
I did that show too, actually, in Classic.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
so
I did.
cool.
Yeah, 2018, I remember.
Small
I
world.
probably saw you there.
Yeah, backstage somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think
So-
you won your class, right? In bikini.
What's that?
At Summum, did you win your class? I think you.
Yeah. So I won the novice category because I'd never done a show before. And so I placed first in that category, and then I placed first in my height class. I think I was class D. I can't remember. I was one of the tallest class for the bikini division. But I didn't get to go to the overall round, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah, it was your first show.
Yeah, and honestly, I was just so excited to be there. I was so excited.
So was it like, because the first show for some people, sometimes it's really nice. Of course, like you won, so it had to be cool, right? But was it like all you expected it to be, or?
Oh my gosh, that's a really good question. It was definitely all I expected it to be and more.
Okay.
It was more. Just because I was going in there with no expectations. I just wanted to go and have a good time. Just get my heels on the stage and really see what this was like. Really get that experience. I don't see a lot of girls like me competing.
Yeah.
So that was also kind of like an experiment to see, how I can do in this division, in the sport. So yeah, it was a great experience.
And if I can remember, I think Summum gave a special award for best presentation.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yes, that's true. Actually, I almost forgot about that for a second, but yeah, there was a spotlight award for best presentation, best posing, selected by the photographer of the show, Judy Stone, and I won that award.
Yeah, because I can still remember your reaction. I was there in the crowd watching.
Yeah, I was just so surprised, really, because again, it was my first show. I've never seen anybody who looks like me compete locally, internationally. So it was all just a bunch of firsts for me, and it was a great first experience getting my feet wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So that's, sometimes people doing their first show have a hard time like posing or whatever, like walking in bikini. So I imagine like for you, dancing in the past must have helped you, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. Definitely my dance experience helped me. I would say most with my stage presence.
Yeah.
Being comfortable on the stage. When you're on the stage, if anybody watching doesn't realize, when you're on the stage, there's a bunch of light hitting you from different directions. And so when you're actually on the stage with all that light coming in, you can't see beyond the lights.
Yeah.
So the crowd is black, like you, and obviously depending on the size of the stadium, like you really just can't see anything beyond that. So I think my dance experience did prepare me to be on stage, because even if you can't see the judges physically with your own eyes, you have to understand that they are there.
Yeah.
And you're on stage for them. You're not on stage for your friends and family.
Yeah.
And so that was new for me. I didn't, when you're dancing, you're presenting for the entire audience, but when it comes to bodybuilding, you're performing for just a panel of judges in front of you. And so that was a bit different. But being comfortable in my heels, walking in my heels,
yeah,
posing, doing my front pose, back pose, transitioning, that came very natural to me. Yeah, it did.
That's awesome.
And did you have a posing course, or you just went with what you saw on YouTube or with Aaron?
No, I actually taught myself, but definitely YouTube. At the time, I didn't realize that there was an NPC.
Okay.
So all the shows that I was watching, they were the Olympias. So I was studying the 2018 Olympia and the 2017 and the 16 and the 15. And actually, when I did my research and I went back, that's when I was like, whoa, like the posing is not the same.
Yeah.
And so that's when I realized, like, after my first, well, I'd say before my first show and after, continuing with the evolution, the bikini division has changed quite a bit since it started about 20 years ago. And that's including, you know, not just what they expect for your physique to look like, but your presentation. The posing is very different from like today from what it was 8 years ago. It is not the same at all. So I a lot of it was self-taught. Yeah.
That's awesome, actually. I would like to know more about Aaron. You know, I mean, how did you met him, and just kind of try to describe us like how he is as a coach. You know, because he coached only women, right?
No, he coaches men as well.
Really? Okay, but he's pretty like low key. We don't hear so much about him, huh?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, he's low key. Where we met, so I used to train at Gold's Gym. Oh my gosh, some years back. I used to train at Gold's Gym, and Aaron used to work at Gold's Gym.
Okay.
And I remember before leaving for a work contract outside of Canada, I was thinking about competing. I really was just thinking about it. So I went in to consult him. I did an assessment, but then I had decided to take that work assignment in the US. So I actually moved. So, you know, I had a really great first interaction with him. He asked a lot of questions. He listened. That was huge. And really just understood where what my needs were. It was just a really good vibe. I don't know how else to explain it, but
yeah,
I just got a really good vibe. But I then left for a work contract. So in 2018, when I came back, I was ready. I knew what I wanted to do. And I had such a good first interaction with him. I said, you know, let's try this again. So it had been 2 years. So we did another assessment. Aaron is very patient. He's very understanding. He has a very calm demeanor. And he's a really great listener. I know I mentioned that before, but I think as a consultant, I think as a practitioner, I think as a professional, anyone who is coming to you to seek your expert consultation, I think as the expert, your biggest job is to listen.
Yeah, of course.
And, you know, I'd had an experience with another coach prior to Aaron, and I didn't get that right off the bat. And so that was like a red flag for me. So when I had that really positive interaction with Aaron the first time, after 2 years, when I came back and I wanted to compete, I knew that he was my guy. And honestly, it was the perfect fit, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
He's honestly the best coach for me. Yeah.
So let's get to that history actually, because now we know that you did your first show in 2018.
Yeah.
And we know you did the Olympia this year. So how many shows have you done between then just to take those steps, right? Not so many, I'm sure. It's great.
Not so many. And I guess I say this with the most humility, because, you know, when you're looking at Miss Bikini Olympia 2020, Janet Layung, like this was her, I think, 8th Olympia.
Yeah.
Okay, this was her 8th try to get that title. So for someone like me who's on my 6th show ever, I qualified for the Olympia, and the Olympia was my 7th show ever. So that was just a very humbling experience. A lot of hard work went into that. But I would say most of the work between show 1 and show 7 was believing that I can do it.
Yeah.
Like after the first show, my coach and I sat down, and, you know, he was like, okay, like, where do you want to go? Like, what do you want to do with this? Because a pro card was never a discussion. It was just, let's do our first show and see what happens. But after that first show, I decided I wanted more.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get enough of being on the stage, and I wanted my pro card. So we did a second show a month later. But that wasn't to get my pro card. That was to see where my physique was at a national level. Okay. Because you need to get to your national level so that you can qualify for your pro card. If that makes any sense. Like you need to be nationally qualified to get your pro card.
Yeah.
But us doing that show, being a month after my first, the goal wasn't to get my pro card. It was just to see where I measured up. Yeah. And I came in like way too lean.
Oh, really?
Like I was just really too lean. The feedback that I got from that show was to build my upper outer glutes. Really just because they didn't want to see that many lines. And I completely understood it. Like we went back to the drawing. Sorry?
Can you explain us a little bit the criteria for women's bikini? Because it's funny to hear that we're in a bodybuilding sport and you can be too lean for a show.
So for bikini, what they want is they want to see overall balance. They want to see shape, symmetry. They want to see poise in your presentation and confidence. So there's basically like 5 main criteria that they need to see on stage. And when it comes to your physique, what they want nice rounded shoulders, but not too full, not capped shoulders. They want to see a slim waist. Your abs, they don't necessarily need to see it etched. So you don't need to see a 6-pack or a line of 6 packs. In terms of the muscular density, when it's on stage, they don't want to see the muscle striations. They don't want to see all the lines. They want the bikini division to be a representation of a healthy, full body.
Yeah.
If I explained it
it's good.
Well.
So
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so you were saying like your glutes were too lean, like were they like almost striated or?
Oh yeah, there was striation
Oh, yeah.
or lines. I mean, like you can see it, like it's okay if you see a glute ham tie-in.
Yeah.
But when they can see all the extra strings around that, it's too much.
Yeah, I get it. Huh.
Like they want to see full size. Really, Janet Leung, she did an amazing job this year, and honestly, I'm really happy to see that she won, because I really feel like with this body type, like I can attain that.
Yeah,
I can attain that. So it's really, I love bodybuilding because whoever wins the show, right? That's the
standard. The representative.
That's the standard, exactly. So the goal is for us to try to meet and reach that. So I think that I can definitely do that this year.
Yeah, that's great. Cool. Like I watched the bikini portion of the Olympia, and I thought she's just a girl that looks the more natural, and beautiful, like naturally beautiful. That's simply what I mean, right? Because some of them they don't look the same, right?
No, that's the thing. It's crazy. Backstage, I thought like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna see like these physiques in real life, because like after the pandemic happened, a year and a half waiting for the Olympia to happen, I'm just like, okay, like I can't wait to be backstage so I can see these girls. And you're right. It's all about what girls look like on the day of the show, and like there's some girls who don't look the same backstage as they do on Instagram and on social media. So it was really interesting for me to see firsthand, like, okay, all right, I know what this is.
So let's take us back. Like you did your nationals and like you were too lean. So what went after this? You know, which shows you did?
So I did the Mike Clement Classic.
So you had to requalify, right?
Well, technically, yes. Within the natural stream, I had to qualify here.
Okay.
So and that was, I think, a really good plan set well in advance, because at the time I didn't understand natural and not natural.
Yeah.
Like the different streams, and then having to qualify on both sides.
Okay.
So I'm really glad that we did the Mike Clement Classic. I took October, November, December, January, February, March. So like 6 months. My caloric intake went up to like 2,000. I was lifting heavy. Like I had to put on weight.
Yeah.
I had to put on size so that I could look more full at the end of my season, or at the beginning of my season. So we did that. It was my first show where I actually went to the overall round, which was exciting.
Yeah.
So I won my height class. I went to the overall round and I won the overall. Like that was amazing, because not because of the win, but because of the recognition of the growth that happened from between the first two shows and this third show.
Yeah.
Like I did not look the same at all. And I just felt like it was just validating for me, because then I said, okay, I won this national level show. Like I might be able to get my pro card at the end of this year.
Yeah.
Because, well, there was the Toronto Pro coming up, which was the non-natural stream, which what I was qualified for. And then there was the Canadian Natural Pro qualifier in August. And that's what this show had qualified me for. So I basically had 2 chances to get my pro card, which was like, oh my gosh. It was a really, really gratifying feeling. Putting in the work for 6 months and seeing my body change like that. It was, I surprised myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So you did good, pretty much. Like your first show you won, the national one. You did not win, but because you were too lean. But to me, that's still a win. You know, I mean,
It definitely
getting lean
was
like that is a win. But then you go on to the Mike Clement, you win again. So you did the Canadian national natural, right?
Yes. Well, I did the Toronto Pro. Sorry,
you
I did
did?
the Toronto Pro qualifier first, and that was in June.
Oh, okay.
So that came first, and that I tried a new look with my hair that didn't work, which that wasn't my feedback, but it just didn't work.
Yeah.
And I think the posing that I had for that show, it was okay, but I just felt like I needed to step it up. So we changed a couple of things, because at the Toronto Pro, I placed, I believe, second in my height category.
Okay.
And you need to place first to go to the overall round. So I was like, darn.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It was in June, so I had another 2 months to prepare for the natural. And we went back to the drawing board. We changed the color of my suit. We changed my hair. We changed my makeup. Posing was a bit different, more confident, and we did that.
So you got it.
Yeah, we did that. It was a team. Honestly, it was a team effort. Bodybuilding, it's an individual sport. Like once you're on the stage, you're alone. Yeah. But like behind the scenes, people don't understand. It's a team effort. Like this is my coach. This is my suit sponsor. This is my supplement sponsor. Like this is everything coming together. This is a whole. It's a whole team effort, and I'm so grateful for my team. Like I'm really grateful.
Yeah, to me, it comes as like support, right? Because everything you do it by yourself. But if you have the support of your people, like your coach, you know, the sponsor, it helps, right?
That's it. It just makes it that much not easier, but less difficult.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So you
So
got your pro card about a year after your first show, right?
pretty much.
11 months if we're being specific.
Pretty good.
Yeah, about there.
So that's good. So you won the overall there?
Yes, I did.
So how was that? Because you know you won your class before, so you win your class again there. So when you arrive at the overall, you know, did you think like you had it or you weren't sure?
No. Again, so I mean, I did my first show, and like I mentioned earlier, I don't see a lot, if any, I don't see a lot of girls who look like me competing.
Yeah.
Or at least not competing in bikini division. I will specify, because you will see girls like me in physique and figure. Probably more in wellness now, with more muscular physiques. But when it comes to bikini, you don't see a lot of girls like me. So this being my first year or my first 11 months, through that perspective, no, I didn't think I was going to win. We're all waiting on the side of the stage, and, you know, I'm honestly just happy to be there.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be waiting on the side of the stage with all of the other girls who were called out first in their height class. And I was like, good luck, girls, good luck. Like, because it for me in my head, it wasn't going to me. It wasn't. So they called my name. And I was backstage. They said my name, and I looked up and I was like, are you sure? And now it's like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. They're like, it's you. And I'm like, are you sure? Legitimately having a conversation with these girls, and they're looking back like, is this girl gonna come on stage? And I'm just like, are you sure? They're like, go. I was like, okay. And you'll see, like, if you go on the it's Muscle Insider. If you go on the Muscle Insider, the thumbnails of those photos, you'll see, like, I'm just like, I don't even know what to do with my pro card. I'm just such a geek about it. Like, what do you mean? So yeah, no, I was not expecting it at all. I mean, you also need to think about the fact that, you know, I'm on a small team.
Yeah.
And I'm competing against girls who are on much bigger teams. You know, they have like all kinds of exposure and, you know, like all kinds of support in the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just me and my coach. So it's all of those things that I'm thinking about that, you know, maybe I won't get it.
Yeah.
But I got my pro card.
So you did. So it did not take too much time for you to do a pro show because you qualified for the Olympia.
Well, see, now the thing is, I mean, no, it didn't take time, but the goal between my coach and I was to go onto a professional stage, the first in Montreal in, I think, 43 years. So I had to do it. Like, it was an inaugural, the Ben Leader, the first ever, like, come on, I had to do it. So it wasn't about necessarily qualifying for the Olympia. It was more about like getting myself out there, doing my first pro show. The fact that it's being hosted in my hometown.
Yeah.
And it's probably never going to happen again, which, you know, we don't know what's going to happen, but this year it's being held in Toronto. So I'm so glad that I did it in my hometown. It was just to go out there and get my feet wet. And there were 2 IFBB pros from the States that were coming in. One of them was an Olympian. One of them, she had been to the Olympia before. So for me, I was like, forget it. Take it, girl. It's yours. I'm just here to, be your accessory on stage. But we did our thing. We had our individual routines. And then there were call outs. And it was such a blur. But our goal was not to qualify for the Olympia.
Yeah.
Not at all. So again, on the thumbnails, you'll see there's a photo where I'm legitimately like,
oh yeah,
my mouth is on the floor, like shocked. But grateful. So grateful.
So yeah. I want to know, did you saw a difference between doing like an amateur show and your first pro show, or
was there a difference in me or in the show itself?
Like how the show was run and how you experienced it?
Oh gosh. Was there a difference? It's hard to, I have to think about it because my first pro show, there were only 8 girls, I think, or 9.
Yeah, it was smaller.
So it's a super, super small shows. It's a smaller venue. So in terms of like organization and running around, I would say it was about the same. It just, in terms of busyness, it was not the same caliber. But it was a pro show. So there wasn't an amateur and a pro, like it was just the 8 girls. I think that both shows were equally professionally ran. I think things were well organized. We were well informed backstage. They had the schedule so that we can keep track. Everyone was really nice and welcoming backstage. It was well organized. So I can't really say, like, I guess as a proud Canadian, I can see that like the level of professionalism is the same from amateur to professional show. I didn't really see much difference. I mean, the only thing that I would say is that the bigger shows, so the shows that have more categories, I would say.
Yeah.
Those ones can tend to run late. But that's just part of the game. Yeah. And honestly, like, I'm okay with it. Yeah. It's just part of the game. Show day can be really exciting for some people, and then it can be exhausting for others. Just for that reason, you have to space out your eating, the hair, the time, the makeup, the stress of the whole day, where you're going to rest in between the first half of the show and finals. Like, there's a lot to think about, but no, it was a good experience, amateur and professional. Yeah.
So when was the Ben Weider, like the date?
Oh gosh, that was September 20th, September 19th and 20th, or the 20th, 21st. Sorry.
Okay, so in September. So pretty much now you won that show, so that qualifies you for the Olympia. But yeah. Now in your head you have 1 year to prepare for it, which actually it became longer than that, we know.
Yes, exactly.
So what was your approach, because there's not so many, especially like in Quebec, they could say like, okay, now I'm prepping for the Olympia, right? So what was your mindset going into that prep?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Like because the thing about it was, I didn't think that I can do it to begin with. So when it happened, my mindset automatically changed to like, it went from like, oh, like, you think you can do this, to, oh, you did it, we're doing it. So for me, it was like, okay, like, what's next? So, I mean, the feedback that I got was like, don't develop anymore. Like, I was already quite muscular as it is, like my shoulders and my glutes, like, they were like, it's enough, like, stay there. Yeah. Don't build more. So I was just excited to be qualified. you know, like in the bikini division, I think there were only 2 other Canadians that were qualified at the time. So me being the third, like what? Really, I was excited. We just focused on training regularly, keeping my caloric intake up, and really just maintaining where we were at. And that went on until March. So like my energy coming back from that qualification, it was high. And then when COVID hit and the gyms closed and I had to train at home, like that was not easy at all. Like
I can imagine, because we, you know, like everybody has like hardship from that, but I'm thinking like you're trying to prep for your first Olympia and that happens. I mean, it has to be huge, right?
Yeah. I honestly, I had to question, like, should I even do the Olympia if I don't have access to the gym? But then my coach was like, listen, you're coming in pretty muscular. Let's just try to do as best as we can, and we'll see how this goes throughout the upcoming months.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't do anything else. And I wasn't gonna stop training. Like I realized that I had an opportunity. And even if like the situation wasn't ideal, like at the moment, and I didn't know what the grand solution was gonna be, I was going to the Olympia. So I wasn't going to cheat on myself and not do the work that I needed to do to be ready in time. So it was a lot more mental work, you know? It was tough. It was tough.
So like you started your prep in March, you say?
No, we started right away. Like, I mean, what do you mean by start your prep? Like,
well, of course, I mean, it must be different for bikinis, I guess, because as bodybuilders, we go like into a deep off season, like we push so much the calories to grow muscle, right? But as the feedback you got, you did not want it to build so much muscle. So yeah, I guess it's different. But what I wanted to say is like pretty much you start your to work for the Olympia. Now the gym shut. It opened back in late June, I believe, right?
June, yeah, 15th, I think, or 23rd.
So do you remember if by that time they announced the Olympia being later in the year?
I know what I remember. What I remember, they announced the Olympia being pushed to December after the gyms reopened.
Yeah, so it would have to be like 10 weeks.
July.
10 weeks away from the show, right?
No, more than that. Like more.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, more. Because the thing is, the Olympia is every September.
Yeah,
so
usually.
by the time June came around, they had to decide where it was going to be. And at the time they had already said like, oh, it's going to be in Vegas. Like from the time I qualified, it was odd. They knew it was going to be in Vegas.
Yeah, usually.
But then in July or at some point, they were like July, August, September. That was 3 months away.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no. It was 1 month out that they switched. Are you asking about where they switched the location?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Not the location, the date. Sorry. Yeah, because
it was I'm sorry. It was 1 month away from what would have been the Olympia. So it was in August. It was in August that they told us that they're pushing the Olympia from September to December because it was 1 month out.
Oh yeah.
And yeah. It was tough. Like, what do you mean? Another month?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough, but you know what? We just had to keep adapting and keep the goal in mind. Like, we're still going to the Olympia. We just have to keep working hard and stay focused on the goal. Like, that was it. As the year progressed, they were pushing shows. I wanted to do the
Yeah.
Toronto Pro.
Yeah.
You know, because there's some pros, usually what they do if they're qualified for the Olympia, if
No
there's
way.
a pro show leading up to the Olympia, they'll do the show just to get the feedback, see if they need adjusting. I didn't get that opportunity.
Yeah.
So that was, it was stressful for me, you know, but I said, you know, just calm down. Everything's going to work out. You're qualified. So you're not going to get any advice going in, but it's your first Olympia. So let's just do your best and leave no stones unturned and just go for it.
So, you know, the gym here were open from, let's say July until like early October.
Yeah,
Yeah.
October 8th.
So then they close again, right?
They did.
So now you have to be back training at home
Yeah.
to end your prep. So how did that felt?
Honestly, at that point, going through, well, at that point, I had been working out from home most of the year already.
Yeah.
So that little window that we got between June and September was nice.
Yeah.
But we were shut down again. At that point, I wasn't phased because I said, I've done it before.
Yeah, let's do it again.
I can do it again. Plus we're closer to the show. So that way we were just focused on getting to the show.
Yeah.
Like I just did the best that I could with the equipment that I had, some 8-pound dumbbells, a resistance band, a closed and an open loop, and my body weight.
Yeah.
That's it.
Huh. That's crazy. So now you get there. That's what people want to know. So how was the experience? Like walk us through you know, like even when you land to Vegas, like how not Vegas, sorry, but Orlando. How was it, you know?
Well, first of all, Orlando airport was packed. Like everybody was leaving. People were taking their trips in the States. So it was very busy in the US airports, lively. Pulling up to the hotel, like that was pretty grand. Honestly, I just took every moment in. Everything was huge. Everything was big. You know, we checked into our room. We kind of walked around the hotel. I think we got there a day before. Yeah, we got there a day before athlete check-ins. So just got to settle in, see the lay of the land. But athlete check-ins was pretty monumental for me.
Oh yeah.
It was, and just talking about it, I get emotional about it because it's different. You know, when you do your shows, whether it's the regional or the national, when you're doing athlete check-ins in the small room, and you have the judges and the promoters at the front, you know, like telling us what to expect and this and that. It's completely different energy when, first of all, you're lining up to go into this room and, you know, you're seeing all the people you see on Instagram that you never met, right? All the girls that you're looking up to, all the girls that you follow, their stories, their journeys, like they're like right here. So it was just really humbling. Of course, you go in, everything is socially distanced. So the chairs are separated by, I think, the 6 feet apart. Yeah. You know, they're encouraging us to wear the masks. Coaches are allowed in the room, but I think because of the restrictions, they just had everyone like spread apart and kind of set to the back. Yeah. So that we can focus on the athletes. Honestly, it was really positive to see all the girls like, just like, you know, getting together and actually being friendly. Yeah. Like, you know, watching from the other side, and I'm going to say me being on the other side, a Canadian who hasn't gotten a chance to do these shows in the US, to make these relationships with these girls, just watching it, it was really nice. It was nice to see actual camaraderie. Like, it wasn't fake. I mean, mind you, people show you what they want to see, right?
Yeah.
So I'll say that, but it felt genuine. Even backstage, some girls on the same team, like, you can tell, like, they're like sisters. They're not teammates, they're like sisters. So it was nice to see that camaraderie. I felt good. I felt like, oh my God, like, I made it. Like, I walked in and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna choose a seat in the front. Like, I'm not gonna be shy. So I sat in the front. Ashley Kaltwasser sat next to me. Janet Lang sitting behind me. I can't remember who's sitting to the left of me. But, like, I'm just like, is this happening?
Yeah.
Like, it was just, and then, so we had the athlete meeting, and, you know, you're seeing Jaya Mannion, the photographer, you're seeing Sandy, you're seeing Tyler, like, you're seeing all the judges, you're seeing the IFBB staff, you're getting your badge, your number, you're getting your suit. Like, it's this whole thing. It's like, it's the stuff that they talk about that you have to be there. And at the end of the athletes meeting, because we did this whole group photo, and everybody's like, yeah, like, excited, and then, like, everyone's scattering apart, and it just hit me, and I was just like, okay, I'm doing this. Like, I was crying, and then Angelica was like, oh, honey, come. She was so sweet. Like, Angelica Teixeira came to console me because I was just so, like, positively overwhelmed. Like, it was such a good feeling. Like, I love my husband and all, but that was, like, just as good as my wedding day, if not better. Like, it was just so humbling. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. It was amazing. Like, larger than life.
Yeah, I can't imagine just seeing all of my idols in the same room, sitting next beside me. I can't imagine seeing Sebum right there.
I was gonna say, I passed Chris Bumstead, like, whoa. Had like, all of these guys, like, it was just insane. And, you know, so how it worked is, you're backstage, everybody has their chance to do their full routine. So it's 44 girls, one after the other, and then they line you up. So they call it, like, I think they line, like, 10 at a time. They have you line up, and then they line up left side of the stage, right side of the stage. So I think what they ended up doing was 4 lines of 10 on each side of the stage. And then they start calling out your top 10. So, like, oh my God, it's, like, gut wrenching, but it's okay. Like, they're calling out numbers, and you're literally watching the show on stage. Like, all of the YouTube videos that I watched, like, over and over, like, of the previous years, like, I'm on the stage. Like, it's not necessarily where I want to be. I mean, I want to be over there, not back here, but it's my first Olympia. So I was just like, okay, like, at that point, when I realized I didn't make the top 10, I was like, okay, I'm watching this now. Like, I still have to hold my pose. I have to hold my pose and smile, but I'm watching, and I'm just like, okay, like, it's like I'm studying again, you know? Like, I know I didn't make the top 10, like the curtains have come down. Like, it's the show's over. Like, the show's over. At least for the show's over for me. Like, you did your thing, like, you didn't make it, whatever, it's okay. So now I'm in like study mode, you know? And I'm study mode backstage. Like, I'm watching everything, I'm listening to everything. Like, I'm automatically excited to requalify for next year. Like, on stage. I didn't make it, okay. I'm ready. When's the next show? Like, let's do this. So it was, again, larger than life. I have to say, though, like, I'll be vulnerable right now and tell you that I don't think it really hit me until finals.
Yeah.
Like my coach was like, hey, you know, like, so like, what do you want to do and stuff, you know? Cause well, it's finals. And I think because of the COVID restrictions, because I wasn't given an official like reason, but I'm gonna chuck it to the reason why whoever didn't make it to the top 10 wasn't allowed backstage this year.
Yeah, for finals.
I'm gonna chuck it to, well, the COVID restrictions. Like you can't socially distance with 40 girls. And also I'm gonna chuck it to that. I don't know why they wouldn't let us back there, but we weren't allowed. So that was like, it was a shock because, you know, at the end of the preliminaries, pre-judging, they're like, okay, guys, like ladies, we'll see you all at finals. So when we came back to go through the backstage, they're like, oh, we don't need you. All the girls that need to be back there are already there. So that was a little like,
yeah, that to be.
It was a little gut wrenching, I have to say it. But you know, it is what it is. Like, I get it. But my coach was like, hey, like, do you mind if we just go and see like the Mr. Olympia? Because at the time, Mr. Olympia was going on, and Dexter Jackson was gonna do his last performance. Yeah. So like me, I'm like, okay, like let me just mentally prepare, because I know myself, and like I'm a little sensitive, you know. So like we're approaching, and as we're approaching, they said that the stage for finals was nothing compared to prejudging. Yeah. And they weren't lying. Like they weren't lying. Like it was just, I was outside of the room and the doors were wide open, and I can see, like, I mean, this wall that I'm against, like the TVs, and I think they set up like 7 of them from one end of the stage to the other. So it's just walking in, I'm just like, oh, and then I'm walking in and I'm watching his performance, and I see the fans. Yeah. Because when you're backstage, you don't see any of the fans. So it's like, you know, nobody's here to see me. But when you see the fans glued, like, I think I probably took, like, my coach wanted to go in. So I'm like, hey, go. And I watched from the back, and I think I took like 2-3 steps. And I was like, okay, like I understand for the fans' perspective why they come. Yeah. Like, and the athletes, why they're so passionate about the sport. The pro league and the staff, why they're so passionate about supporting the athletes. Like, the whole thing was right in front of me, and I was like, wow. Like, I literally, like, I'm like, coach, did you see what you had to see? Because, like, it hurt. Like, it hurt. Like, that hurt. And I wasn't even there to see the bikini girls. Like, at the time that we went, it was Mr. Olympia. So it was, I think, Mr. Olympia's first, and then I think they have Miss Bikini Olympia after that. Yeah. Or Bikini Olympia's last or something. But I couldn't stay. Like, my heart, oh my gosh, like, it was, but it was larger than life. It was a bittersweet moment. Yeah. Bittersweet.
Well, it had to be motivating for you, right?
Absolutely. You know? Absolutely. I mean, seeing that stage, like, I mean, the thing is, I had already decided when I was on stage, and I did, like, by the time I didn't get called out, I was like, okay, like, I need to get called out. Like, you need to do this, whether it's next year, the year after, like, that's my next goal. Like, I want to qualify for the Olympia again, and I'd like to place. Yeah. So, and I'm happy that that's how I feel, because there are some girls who are like angry, or not necessarily girls, but just athletes in general. Like, they're angry with their placing, and they're, you know, they're blaming this person and that person. And it's like, it doesn't need to be like that, you know? Like, if you're really passionate about the sport, you know, you're gonna, or passionate about anything that you're doing, like, you're gonna keep pushing through, right? So that's what I want to do.
So,
Yeah.
you know, for us, I mean, I will talk for me, but I guess most guys, when we watch bikini, right, we're not sure sometimes, like between, let's say, like fifth position, right, and like the 10th position or the 15th. Like, for you, what was the difference between the girls that did top 10, like that they had that you don't have, right?
Well, I'll start with the feedback that I got. And the feedback that I
Yeah.
got is that I came in too muscular.
Oh yeah.
Or-
So yeah, apparently I came in a little too muscular, and I didn't fit at all. Like, I didn't match any of the girls in the top 10.
Hmm.
That's the feedback that I got. So yeah, I was too muscular. And I mean, I can sort of agree. Because the thing is, like I mentioned earlier, one of the criteria for a bikini is balance.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to look at balance, and balance is balance. So balance top to bottom, left to right.
Yeah.
You know, I think looking back, because they didn't say what I was more like overpowering in one area than the other. They didn't say I was unbalanced. They just said that I was too muscular. So in that is I'm too muscular, but I'm balanced.
Okay.
So that means I have the equal amount on top to the bottom. It matches.
Yep.
The top and the bottom match, left and right match. Okay, but what they want is less size.
Yeah.
Like, I was just too boom pow for them. They don't want boom pow. They want like, oh, that's what they want.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can do that. Absolutely. Like, this year, well, we're training from home. Like, I'm barely doing my legs. I'm doing glute specific exercises. I'm not doing lunges anymore. Forget it. Because I'm a quad dominant girl.
Yeah.
So anything that I do, like, I could be sitting down right now and like doing a shoulder press and my quads are activated. You weren't invited to the party. So like this, like, since I got that feedback, I've been laying off my legs. Like, the size has really come down on my, because the thing is, you could see from the back pose.
Yeah, your quad, like
the glutes, so you can see my quads come out.
Yeah.
And
they don't want that.
It's a little too much.
Yeah.
And you know, based on, you know, the changing criteria from, you know, Isa Pacini's build to Janet Lane's build.
Yeah.
Okay. The expectation is Janet Lane's build.
Yeah.
This year, it's her build. So
it's crazy, right? Because like you're saying this, and you know, Isa was looking pretty muscular from what I can see. So he spent a whole year pretty much seeing that girl as Miss Olympia. So you're chasing her physique, but then you get there. I mean, I'm not saying that's what you did, but you know, people would think that. And then you get there and Janet's win. I mean, I think you know, Janet is the best looking one, so I'm happy she won. But you know, that's like confusing.
Yeah, I could see how it can be confusing. You're absolutely right on that. And you know, I think I'll say from my own opinion, I don't think that I was the only one who was looking at Isa as the standard, because essentially that's what it is. You choose a winner and that's the standard for the upcoming season, right? So, you know, I am gonna agree with you and say that I found it, you know, confusing as well. But, you know, as Tyler Mannion, the vice president of the IFBB Pro League, clarified, after the Olympia that apparently there hasn't been a change in their expectations for what bikini is. Okay. So we're just, we know what the standard is, and we're just to build our body the best way we can. I don't know how to say it. Like, they want us to build our body to look as close as possible to the ideal, but without changing your body. Like, if genetically you won't be built a certain way, don't try to attain this look. Yeah. So it's like, try your best as close as possible is what they're saying.
Yeah. And like Janet is pretty tall, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, without the heels, I don't know, but I imagine she's like almost what, 5'8", 5'9"?
Yeah, 5'8", 5'9". Like,
so if you had the shoe,
we were about the same height in heels. Okay. Her and I.
Huh. So I mean, of course, if you're a girl like 5'5", you can't try to look like her. Like, you can't. That's not you.
It's not. Yeah. I mean, it's specifically what Tyler was talking about. Yeah. He was talking about that point that we just made, you know, like, you have a winner, and then that's the standard. He was basically telling us, like, you shouldn't be changing your body to look like the winner. But essentially, that's the criteria. Right? Sorry?
Yeah, he's saying just do your best with what you have, actually.
Basically. So that's what he said. So that's what we have to do. And I honestly feel like Janet Layens, like, it's definitely attainable. And that's what they want. They want something that looks attainable, something that looks healthy. So yeah, that's where we're at.
So now, like, the Olympia is over. So what's the next show? Do you have like a plan for a show that's coming, or you just waiting like for COVID like to get down, or?
No, I plan to do Battle of the Bodies, Janet Layens' inaugural event.
Oh yeah.
She has her first show in South Florida, July 31st, and I'm planning to do that show.
Okay, awesome.
So I'm hoping that I can get out there. Maybe I'll get my vaccine in time. We'll see.
Yeah.
If that's going to be an issue in terms of travel, because, you know, traveling.
It's hard, right? It's hard right now for shows, because I mean, last year in Quebec City, all the shows got canceled, and I got a chance to compete in Ontario, but it was pretty much the only show they had too. So I think for you, going to South Florida is probably the best option to make sure to get a show.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I wanted to do the VC show. Is it the VC Showdown?
Yeah.
The Vancouver Pro.
Yeah.
There were two of them. There was the BC Cup, I think. Anyway, there were two shows in Vancouver that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
That one's been postponed. So the next one was Janet Layens' Battle of the Bodies. So I hope that I can go out and do that. If not, I'd like to do the Toronto Pro. I mean,
yeah, of course.
But that's all I have. I have the Toronto Pro, and that's it. I don't have any other shows to qualify for the Olympia if I can't do those.
You mean like there's no show like organized, or?
No, that I can physically attend.
Oh yeah, okay.
I mean, if you're talking about organized in Canada, then yes, like the Toronto Pro is the only pro show that I can do to qualify for the Olympia. The Ben Leader this year is like, it's past the cutoff.
Ah, okay, yeah.
So, I mean, unless they move the date.
Yeah.
They probably won't. No. But unless they move the date, that's going to be a qualifier for next year.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. Like, what's the date for the Ben Weider? How far after the Olympia is it?
It's not. It's still.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, the
cutoff. It's in October. So yeah, no, it's before. It's September 18th.
September 18th, huh? So you might as well like do it and qualify, like if you win for the next year after. That'd be
We
a good
might,
idea.
we
Yeah.
might, we might do that. We'll see.
Yeah.
And is the Olympia being held in September this year, or it's still
October, I
in
believe, eh?
October,
October? Okay.
October 7th to 10th, in the same place as last year.
I see.
Yeah, I would like to go there. I've been to the Olympia in 2013.
Yeah.
I loved it in Vegas. So now that it's a new venue, a new place, I want to
That's the
go.
thing. I've
You know?
never been to Vegas. Like I never went as a spectator, so I don't have anything to compare it to. Like when I went, all the people that had been before, they're like, "Oh, this is nothing. Like this is nothing. Like this is your first Olympia. Like this is nothing. Like you missed out on some years where there were like tons of people. It was packed. Like this is like it feels like this feels like nothing." I was like, okay, well, I'm grateful to be here.
Yeah, but
But I understand.
I think usually in the Orleans we were 10,000 people.
Holy shit.
So that's a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And you know the expo is something, you know, that's like that alone you want to go like
That's what I really miss. I really
yeah,
miss that.
the only
Because the
thing I would say.
athlete meet and greet is different. Like
Yeah,
did
yes.
you ever go to the athlete meet and greet?
I didn't because it gets expensive. Like if you get this package, you know, it's
Oh, I didn't. Okay. I
yeah,
need to
it
think of that.
yeah, no, but I mean,
Sorry,
it's
I
like
forgot.
it's a VIP package, and like already to go there, it's crazy, especially in Vegas. Like I imagine in Orlando must be a bit lower, but yeah, no. So I did not, but you still see most of the guys and girls like in the expo.
Fair enough.
Like sometimes like their sponsors will like show when they come, you know, because let's say Phil Heath won't be all day at this booth, you know.
Between 1 and 4.
Yeah, if even that, you know, but still you look and oh, okay, we'll be there at 1 o'clock. Okay, I'll be there. But
That's
yeah.
cool. Yeah, I miss that experience. Like it's crazy when I thought about competing, like I thought about, like, I don't know why, but it was the expositions that really got my attention.
Yeah.
Like, and I never got to. I did the Toronto Pro last year, so I got the feel of it, but not an American expo. You know,
Yeah.
like
It seems some people say the Arnold one is like the best one. So I really want to
people
go
were
there
saying
too.
that at the Olympia, like the Olympia is good and all, but the Arnold is like.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
thanks, guys. I've been to neither.
But I can't. I would imagine that this year in Orlando they will have an expo because you know the way they do things right now in Florida. I mean, you would say they will have one, right?
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, when I was out there, like outside of the venue, like just walking along the strip, restaurants are open. They're not socially distanced. Like it's like the mentality there is that their COVID doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So and honestly, like I think with that mentality, like that's why they've been in the States, they've been so successful at carrying out all of these shows.
Yeah.
A lot of them were transferred out to Florida because that was the only state that they can allow those shows. Like I think the New York Pro was done
Yeah.
in Florida
Tampa
last
Pro
year.
too.
Yeah.
But well, actually, it's always in Florida, but I think there was another one. I'm not sure.
It was either Chicago or New York. No,
The New York did it at Tampa.
They did, but I'm not sure if Chicago. I know they
Chicago was
moved
in
it.
Atlanta.
Yeah, you're right. That's it. Yeah.
Weird stuff last year.
Yeah. But you know they worked hard for it. I mean, it's cool to see. You know.
Well, that's another thing. Like that was another thing. Like with all of the hardships and all of the stuff that we had to deal with, like these guys managed to put on a show.
Yeah.
Like they still managed to do it. So it was just like, man, like you guys go hard. Like it was just it was humbling because like I technically wasn't supposed to be there, but we made it out there. They made it happen. So it was just like, I love being part of the pro league. I'm like so grateful to be part of this huge community. And I honestly, I just want to do it again. I want to do it again, meet more people, do more shows. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I think, you know, if you're going to go to the States, like it will happen. I mean, right now I'm trying to stay positive here, but it's hard to, right? But if if you go out there, I mean, you'll get your chance.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, it sucks to say, but it's just the truth in the matter that when it comes to bodybuilding, although it is an international sport, as much as it is an international sport, it's just dominant in the States.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just dominant
there. Yeah.
Everything, like, I mean, it's just the mecca of bodybuilding is in the US.
Yeah.
Ironically, it started in Canada, here in Montreal, but whatever. And so when it comes to competing and getting exposure, I noticed, like, when I went to the Olympia, I knew that I have to do shows in the States. Like, there's no way around it. Like, I can do as many shows in Canada and that's fine. But like in terms of exposure and getting the judges familiar with my face and familiar with my physique and my look and everything, like I'm gonna need to go to them. They're not gonna come here.
No.
So with, you know, the pandemic happening right now, it's kind of putting a dent in things, but my plan is still to have a successful circuit in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you should do. I think it's good.
I think it's important.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to see that. I mean, just hope you can make it there.
Oh, me too. Thanks. I
and
appreciate
when's
it.
the show exactly in the state?
July 31st. Yeah. So I think we're 17 weeks out this week. I think 17, yeah. So like we have a ways.
I mean, it's coming pretty quick. I mean, before you know it, you're gonna be June, and then oh shit, okay.
And then July.
Yeah.
I just hope the thing about it, like I asked for my contracts in advance.
Yeah.
Because they need to be return signed for every professional show. But like I'm not submitting my contracts because I don't know if I can make it.
Yeah.
Like I was supposed to do the Clash tomorrow. The Clash Championship in Florida.
Oh
like,
yeah. Okay.
I was supposed to do that. That was supposed to be my first show this season. But you know, no, I don't know about you guys, but I can't afford a $2,000 expense to stay in a hotel.
Nah, you're right.
Or like I can't afford that. You know, I work as a registered nurse. I'm a full-time, like I work full-time. So I don't have the luxury of just being able to take all of that time off. I wish I could.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. So you know, I wanted to do the Pittsburgh Pro in May, and things are not looking good in terms of the flight restriction or the protocol that we have to follow upon return. So I hope that I can do this show in July, but I'm holding on to my contract until I know. Because the thing is, if you submit your contract, you know, and like if you submit your contract and let's just say it's close to that show date, they're gonna put your name and expect you there.
Yeah.
And you can pay a fine, like they'll fine you, or is it a fine? They'll give you a penalty or something for not showing up if you registered. So it's like, to just be on the safe side, I'm not submitting my contracts just yet, just because of that reason. So hopefully by June we'll know.
Yeah, that would be nice. True, huh?
That would be really nice to know by June.
Huh. All right. So anything you want to say more, Tony?
We talked a lot, so for me it's pretty good.
We're not gonna hold you much longer. I mean, it's coming pretty late now.
Yeah, I didn't even check the time.
Hey.
Oh, look, we're good. Okay.
But that's gonna do it for us. So like we said, I mean, wish you the best. We hope you can make it there.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks to you. So
And we
with
hope
that-
everyone likes our English because it's the first time we did an English show.
Honestly, your English was perfectly fine.
oh, thank
Yeah.
you, thank you. You
But
know, I mean, we understand like perfectly because most of what we watch and listen to most of the day is in English, right? But
fair enough.
talking to someone is different thing, you know?
Yeah, it's processing.
Yeah. So
Just-
that's it.
Just so you know, if we did this in French, like, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, my French isn't bad, but like, it's not as good as yours. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Yeah.
as good as your English.
Yeah, let's put it
Yeah,
that
well,
way.
French is hard to learn, so
Yeah, well, je parle français. Comme, il faut que je travaille au Québec, il faut que je parle en français. Mais comme le grammaire, and, comme quelqu'un m'a demandé, est-ce que c'est correct si je te tutoie? J'ai demandé à mon mari, c'est quoi tutoyer, vous tutoyer? C'est quoi ça? Mais il m'a expliqué the tu and the vous. Are we friends now? Is it super formal? And I was like, oh, okay, no, we're cool. We're twos. We're twos. I was like, I don't get it, but I get it. So,
Yeah.
je suis un peu lent, mais je te comprends. Okay?
that's perfect.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. So thanks again, Maya. So
Thanks to you.
we'll keep in touch with you.
Thank you so much, guys. I hope you have a happy
You're
Easter
welcome.
weekend. And
Yeah.
thank you for having me.
It was our
Our
pleasure.
pleasure.
Bye.